Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Defazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozer Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Prashant, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Always good to be back in the studio.
So good to have you in the studio. Thank you so much for coming in and always making time. And Ozer, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So good to see you too.
Likewise.
You're always smiling. Everyone's always happy. Well, I know you've both been incredibly busy. Obviously, the television show has been just performing very well. People are calling in. They have so many questions, always about how to retire comfortably and retire with confidence. One of the things that we've heard about recently, and actually in prior months, is something called the 4% rule. I was hoping that we could unpack that just a little bit to find out what exactly is the 4% rule. Prashant?
Yeah, so this 4% rule is this old ideology that was kind of developed, I think, in the early 90s. And basically what it was this ideology that if you had a balanced retirement portfolio, on the day that you retired, you would take whatever your balance is, your retirement account balance, and you'd start to withdraw 4% of that balance each and every year. Now, you would adjust that withdrawal for inflation while remaining invested every year. So hypothetically, if I retired with $1 million in my retirement plan, I wanted to then withdraw $40,000 or 4% of the 1 million each and every year. Now, every year I'm going to raise that withdrawal to account for inflation. And it used to be a pretty good, retirement planning rule of thumb. But frankly, what's happened in the last, 10 years or so is the environment is completely different, right? Especially if you look at the last couple years in particular, we've seen extreme stock market volatility. And so now maybe that $1 million that you saved is only worth $750,000. Well, now if you're only taking 4% of that number out every year, that could be less income for you. And so you're kind of faced with this decision of, do I want to take out less and reduce my standard of living, or do I want to keep my withdrawals the same, like the 4% rule says to do, but then there's a greater chance that we may end up running out of money. So people these days are kind of faced with this really big dilemma is if we were planning to follow the 4% rule, what do we do moving forward if we can't use that reliably?
Well, and that makes perfect sense because when we talk about inflation impacting everyone across the board, specifically, I'm thinking probably retirees more than anyone else because if they're taking 4%, what if you really need 6%?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was sitting down with an existing client of ours a couple weeks ago, and he said, he's getting ready to retire in about 2 or 3 years. And he said to me something that really kind of hit home with me as we're doing his annual review. And he said, look, I've been through up and down markets. He said the market itself being down right now is actually not that concerning to me because I've been through the dot-com crisis. I've been through the '08 crisis. And I said, so what's holding you back from retiring? And he said, my gas and electric bill. And it has been through the roof, and it's been a pretty mild winter at the end of 2022. Pretty mild winter, but his gas and electric bill was through the roof, right? His grocery bills are through the roof. His gas bill for filling up the car, through the roof, right? And so when we look at that, I think inflation is a huge concern. The old 4% rule said we just adjust for a very low inflation rate, but that's not the times that we're living in anymore with expenses going up much faster than our incomes are going up, it feels like. That's a huge concern. So we have to be able to address that. Ozer talks all the time about creating an income plan. And in that income plan, we want to have what we call wiggle room built into that income plan. So can you talk about the importance of having wiggle room and what that actually means for the audience, having wiggle room?
Like what Prashant said, that 4% rule used to be able to work, when the market cooperates with you all the time. But now, if the market is not cooperating, what are you going to do?
Right.
When we put the plan together, when we sit down with the clients, what we do is, if you do need $6,000, how about we can adjust that to a $7,000 to $8,000 more than they need? And I've never seen any person is, arguing with me that you're giving me more income than I want.
Yeah.
You mean people are not upset when you give them more income than they need?
Some people sometimes get upset, but at least when we do that, we have that wiggle room in our, bucket, so to speak, as long as that wiggle room is good enough for the inflation
Yeah.
and everything, you don't really have to worry about that 4% rule.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important, but what you need is to make sure that you have more income coming in than you need, then you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's an underlying theme that we can all take away. I mean, we do it while we're working, right? We always try to have more income coming in than expenses going out so that we're saving money. When you retire, why should that mindset change? Just because you're retired doesn't mean that you shouldn't stop saving money if you can. I mean, yes, you're now entering this spending phase of your lifetime, but if you had more than you needed coming in, I mean, that's a pretty good safety blanket.
It really is. It really is. And I know a lot of times people have come into the office and they'll say, you know what, I don't need this. I just want to get by. But you're both so passionate about making sure that people can actually thrive in their retirement. You want them to be able to enjoy things like traveling with their families and going on just amazing destinations. So I love that you're so passionate about having people enjoy their retirement.
That's exactly right. I mean, look, the way we look at it is we work really hard. We know our clients work really hard, and they've sacrificed by saving money for the last, 30 or 40 years. At some point, you have to reward yourself for that sacrifice, right? And so retirement, I always say it's not just about kind of what you're retiring from, the career that you're retiring from, but it's more so about what are you retiring to?
Yeah.
That's important, right? Spending time with your family,
Yep.
volunteering in the community, traveling, doing things that are on your bucket list, right? We have all these clients that come in, tell us about these river cruises that they take in Europe, or just had a client do an Alaskan cruise and said it was like an incredible time, right? So those are the things that we like to hear as advisors. And really what it comes from is creating a retirement plan that you can actually depend on, right? Especially when things get difficult. It's really easy to make money when the market's going up. It's really easy to manage your retirement plan when the market goes straight up like it did from 2012 through like the end of 2021, right?
Yeah.
But where you need that retirement plan to rely on is times like this, when inflation is really high, a recession's right around the corner, stock market is crazy. We're waiting for the Fed chairman to talk every single month, and it seems like his speech drives the market up or down. I mean, do you want to subject your 401k to one speech a month based on inflation? That is
Good
so
point.
scary to me to do that. And so what we do for folks every single week on the show is we encourage you to call in to the program. It's 833-308-5200. Now, when you call in, you'll be able to schedule a complimentary, no obligation visit with Ozzy, myself, and our team at Elite Income Advisors. When you come in to visit with us, we're going to prepare for you a real comprehensive retirement plan. That's going to include a summary of your assets. It's going to include an income for life report, which is going to help you project what your income is going to look like every year for the rest of your life. We'll even be able to show you how protecting some of your assets could actually increase some of your income streams in retirement. And we'll also do a portfolio stress test, which will show you how you can expect your investments and retirement assets to perform both in a really good market and also in a really catastrophic market. So it's totally complimentary when you do come in to visit with us, but we only have a limited number of exclusive spots for our TV audience. The phone number is 833-308-5200. Our operators are standing by ready to schedule you in our office. But if you can't call right now, you can also pull out your cell phone, open up the camera, and scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen. That'll help you get on our schedule. And we'd love to have you in and really talk about a retirement plan that makes you comfortable.
Prashant, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 833-308-5200. We know that you're sitting at home today and you're wondering about planning your retirement. What's going to work for you? Do you need to follow the 4% rule? Do you need additional guidance? Ozzy and Prashant are able to give you those answers. Now, when we come back from the commercial break, we're going to talk a little bit about something very interesting. And if you like roller coasters, stay tuned. There's a reason I'm asking that question. So think about roller coasters for just a moment. 833-308-5200. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break on Retire Smart Maryland.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
And welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Defazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozer Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Gentlemen, we were talking before the commercial break and during the commercial break about roller coasters, and there's a reason I'm asking that. So, Ozer, I have to ask you, are you a fan of roller coasters?
No, not really.
Were you when you were little?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I ever liked the roller coasters.
Okay.
It's a different feeling. The airplanes are fine, but the roller coasters are slightly different.
Prashant, what about you?
I will say
fan?
this. When I was a kid, I loved roller coasters, okay? But the older I've gotten, the less I want to deal with it, right? It's just, I don't like the feeling of it anymore. And I think I know where you're going with this. Because I think we have to talk about the stock market roller coaster that we've all kind of been riding on, right?
100%.
And it's funny to think about, just myself as a kid. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go to theme parks, and I love doing that. And now it's not that interesting to me. I just don't want to do it. But that's a lot like investing, isn't it? When we're younger, we're able to take more risk. We're able to ride those roller coasters, so to speak, a little bit more. But the closer and closer we get to retirement, the more important it is to protect your money, right? You don't want to go through those ups and downs. I mean, how many people out there, and I know that they're out there, know somebody who was getting ready to retire right around 2008.
Absolutely.
And then the market went down. It fell out like crazy. And that person either couldn't retire or they retired and had to go back to work, right? And that's a pretty scary thing to go through, right? Especially when you've seen people go through that, or if you've experienced that with a parent or a close friend. You don't want to be in that position when you get to retirement. And so managing the market roller coaster is an incredibly important part of the process.
It really is, because when you think about it, Ozer, obviously a lot of people try to be do-it-yourselfers at home when it comes to retirement. And I think that's so scary, especially when you think about how the markets can go up and down. And if you're relying on just your information from Google, per se, I mean, that can be quite detrimental during the retirement years. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. Just imagine what Prashant said. If you retire at the end of the 2020, right?
Yeah.
The markets was all-time highs and everything, and let's say you made the plan, okay, like I have $1 million, I'm going to take out, $50,000 from this portfolio, and it's going to be fine for the rest of my life. Now that $1 million is worth $700,000, but your need is not changing. You still have the same needs.
In fact, your needs are probably more.
Because of the inflation.
Yeah,
and sometimes, again, like we do see some clients says that, oh, I can adjust, my income because I can reduce this expense and this expenses. But is that really what you want to do at the retirement? You work so hard, and now you're going to adjust that $50,000 to $30,000.
Right.
It's like, yes, that's why I don't like the roller coasters.
Okay.
and going back to what you said about being a do-it-yourselfer, I mean, being a do-it-yourselfer is a good thing in a lot of ways, right? It doesn't mean that you need to work with an advisor to manage all of your money or anything like that. Some people are happy doing it themselves, and that's okay. But I think where there is a disconnect is looking at investing as just one small part of the overall retirement plan, right? So people oftentimes are hesitant to come in to visit with us because they're totally comfortable managing their investments on their own. And if that's you out there, that's okay. Like, we're not here to say you have to come in to visit with us and we're going to manage all your money. That's actually not what we do. What we do, though, is we do put together an entire comprehensive plan. So what that means is, yeah, of course investing is important, but how's your income going to be generated in retirement? When are you going to collect your Social Security benefit so as to optimize it for you and your family? What about the taxes that you're going to pay? Are we concerned that taxes are going to go up? I think so.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think we have to be with everything going on today. I mean,
Sure.
tens of
Scary.
trillions of dollars of national debt, questions about Social Security solvency. These are all real questions that people are thinking about. And so I know if you're sitting at home thinking about this, you got to pick up the phone and just give us a call, because these are the things that we can help you. What about coordinating your health care and Medicare
Absolutely.
benefits in
Yeah.
retirement? So these are all the moving parts of a financial plan. Investing is just one part of that.
Yeah.
And oftentimes investing is actually not the most difficult part. As difficult as it can seem sometimes, it's oftentimes not the most difficult part of the process.
And I know part of the things that you do when clients come in for the very first time, you do kind of a portfolio x-ray, a stress test. And the
That's right.
reason I'm asking that question is because when you're in line at the amusement park,
Right.
you're going on that roller coaster, you know what you're in for.
Right.
A lot of times, people that are just pulling those statements out of the mail, they think that's a plan. They may think that they're moderately invested, but when they come in to see you, it's a totally different picture. Let's talk about that. How important is it to understand someone's risk tolerance?
I think it's very important, especially being very specific about it. So what I mean by that is it's oftentimes you go to see a financial advisor and the first question they will ask you is, what's your risk tolerance? Are you conservative? Are you moderate? Are you an aggressive investor? And you might say, I'm a moderate investor. Okay, well, great. You're a moderate investor, but what if as an advisor, I have my own definition of what moderate actually means? And what if my definition is not the same as your definition? And so let's just say, you know, you expected to be in a moderate portfolio and then that portfolio lost a heck of a lot more money than you expected. And then you question your advisor and say, what happened? And your advisor said, well, I had you in a moderate portfolio that could only go down 30%. Well, to me, that's not a moderate portfolio.
I agree.
So here's a question that our entire audience can think about today, okay? On the money that you do have saved for retirement, doesn't matter if it's $100,000 or $2 million, right? On the money you have saved for retirement today, how much could you lose in the market before you begin to feel uncomfortable? This is a question that we ask to every single person that we sit down with, because it's very easy at that point. If you have $2 million and you say, no matter what, I don't want to see my $2 million go below $1.5 million, then we run your stress test, and the stress test shows that you could go down by $700,000. Well, now you're outside of your risk tolerance.
Absolutely.
And that's an indicator that you need to make a change, right? And we can help you with that, or you can do it on your own. But this is the type of information that we're trying to put out there, because unless you're educated on this stuff, you don't want to make a mistake really close to retirement.
That makes perfect sense. So I only want to lose $1. That's my.
Exactly. There you go.
That's all I want to
Actually,
do.
sometimes the people make these mistakes that I see in it. It's not really a mistake because they don't know, right? And like Prashant is asking the question, and they say, yeah, I'm okay with losing 30%. And you have $2 million losing 30%. So you'll be okay losing $600,000. Whoa.
Right.
That's not what I said. Well, that's
30%.
That's
Yeah.
what 30%. So how much do you
Yeah.
really okay? Well, $100,000 will be more realistic.
And I think that's
Yeah.
really important, talking about it in terms of dollars, right?
Absolutely.
Advisors get so hung up on, oh, you're down 5% or 10%. And that doesn't feel like a whole lot, but 10% on $2 million is $200,000. That's a
Yeah.
lot of money where
That
I'm from,
is.
right? So,
Oh, absolutely.
look, if you're sitting at home and you're not sure what your portfolio stress test will show, if you need to get a second opinion on your existing portfolio, just pick up the phone and give us a call. It's 833-308-5200. That stress test is totally complimentary, by the way. When you come in to visit with us, you're not agreeing to become a client. In fact, we're not even agreeing to take you as a client necessarily. What we're doing is we're helping you get the information that you need to make the best decisions possible. It all starts with that phone call, 833-308-5200, or you can scan the QR code, get on our calendar here in the next 2 weeks. The spots are limited, and these spots are exclusive for our TV audience.
Prashant, thank you so much. And Ozzy, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 833-308-5200. We know that you have a lot of questions for Prashant and Ozzy about how to plan your perfect retirement. You've worked your entire life to get to this time of your life, and please, you enjoy the retirement of your dreams. There's a way to make that happen. Go ahead and call in 833-308-5200. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Retire Smart Maryland, but when we come back, I want to talk about, do you think that your taxes are going to go down in retirement? That seems to be a common conversation that we're having. Stay tuned to hear what Prashant and Ozzy have to say.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Defazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozzy Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Two of my favorite names to say. I just absolutely love saying your names. So, gentlemen, obviously a lot of times people are talking around the water cooler and they're planning their retirement, and a lot of people would think, you know what, we're going to retire and things are going to change. We're not going to need as much income, if you will, so obviously my taxes are going to go down. Ozzy, is that true? Do your taxes go down in retirement?
In most cases that we see in our office, their income is about to be the same and or close to be the same, so the taxes are not changing. But what is going to happen is you're going to come to an age that you have to take the required minimum distribution, and that's going to be depending on the size of your retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, and that is going to be very important for tax purposes because that's going to be a big number. Even if you don't need it, you're going to take it, and we don't know what the taxes are going to be when you take that. You're 65 years old, and in 8 years, I'm not sure if Prashant knows what the tax rate is going to be.
No, I don't think anybody knows what the tax rates are going to look like, right? And so I think that, you know, I call it the tax trap, right? We're kind of told our entire career to save money into our 401ks, our IRAs, our TSPs, and that's all saved before tax. So it's shown to us as a tax deduction. Oh, we're reducing our income. But now when we get to retirement, we're going to start withdrawing that income. So now we got to pay federal tax. We got to pay state, depending on if we live in a state that, you know, taxes your income. And that's all going to be additional taxation that you have to deal with. Furthermore, the higher your income is, the more that you pay for your Medicare premiums, right? The more that you pay on your Social Security, the more of your Social Security that you receive is actually taxable. That is actually dependent on your income as well. So it creates this kind of domino effect that we have to deal with. And so I think what a lot of people are doing these days is they're looking for alternatives, right? There's several alternatives out there for how to create tax preferred or even tax-free income in retirement. Certainly using a Roth IRA is one of those options. So a Roth IRA is when you take after-tax money and let it grow, and when you withdraw it, it's 100% tax-free as long as it's a qualified withdrawal. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
And then there's another tool out there that's becoming even more popular where you can actually use a life insurance policy, believe it or not. You can add a long-term care benefit to that life insurance policy and also use it to create tax-free income potentially for you in the future, which is something that's becoming more and more popular in this day and age. And I think not enough advisors are talking about it.
Absolutely. And Ozzy, I want to ask you, you mentioned RMDs. There was an age change with that. Can we talk about that? What is the age now for taking your required minimum distributions?
Well, the latest right now, it used to be 72, now it's 73, and it phased out, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 10 years, it's going to be 74 and 75 hopefully, but as of today, it's 73 right now. So what that means is you're going to have to start taking money out from your retirement accounts you haven't paid the taxes yet, even if you do not need the money, because sometimes the people comes in and says like, I don't want that money. I do understand, but the Uncle Sam wants you to pay the taxes
Right.
for somehow. So you're going to have to take that out. Then, like what Prashant says, the domino effect is going to happen. Your income is going to get higher. Then after that, the Medicare premiums are going to get higher because we have more income. Then the taxes are going to get higher. So what's going to happen?
Yeah, like what if you're a federal employee, right? Because we see a lot of federal employees from where we're located. You're a federal employee, you have a pension coming in. You maybe saved $1 million in your TSP. You have Social Security coming in. And now you're living comfortably on a pension and a Social Security. You have no need to withdraw that money from the TSP. Well, now, if you're 73 years old, you got that $1 million in the TSP, they're going to force you to take out anywhere from $35,000 to $40,000 in that first year of the RMD.
Wow.
And that all counts as income, right? Increases your tax bracket, increases the Medicare, increases the amount of tax you pay on the Social Security. So it's a whole thing that you have to be able to deal with. And this is why we call it the tax domino. I wrote about it in the book, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. You can actually get a copy of this book, by the way, if you visit retiremaryland.com. It's complimentary. Just go there, answer the questionnaire, and you'll get a complimentary copy of the book mailed to you. But look, as we head into the end of the show here, let's open up the phone lines one more time. It's 833-308-5200. When you call in, you can schedule that complimentary, no obligation visit with our team at Elite Income Advisors. When you come in to visit with us, you leave your checkbook at home. If you can't call the number right now, you can always visit retiremaryland.com. Check out some of the resources we have, and you can also schedule an appointment through that website as well.
Prashant, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you. To our viewers at home, thank you for watching. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today on Retire Smart Maryland.